Oh, Nestor, you crazy little character, you. Oh, hey. Well, the holiday season's upon us, so it's usually a time to take a trip down memory lane. So I thought I'd like to share with you some of my favorite Nintendo Power issues. Now, despite the title of this video, I'm not saying you have to go out and buy these. I'm just giving you some recommendations if you're a retro collector such as myself. I have about 23 issues, something like that. I have a couple more I'm gonna get, but I'm only gonna show you a handful of them, like about 10 or so. And most of these I paid about $6 to $8, so which is a pretty decent price. You don't want to get ripped off. You know, shop around. You shop smart. Shop S-smart. You got that? Bruce Campbell, Army of Darkness. Anyway, first let's look at Volume 24 from 1991, covered by the cover of Vice Project Doom. My brother used to have this issue. I think he bought it again. I remember this was a really good one. Unfortunately, Vice Project Doom, that classic NES game, the price has gone up. But I always loved the illustrations for this game in here. See if you can see it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Move that. Sorry. How's that? Yeah, see the bosses, the robots, and that gelatinous guy. Let's see what else we got here. Oh yeah, one of the other things I loved about this comic, I mean this issue was a Battletoads comic, if you remember the Battletoads. Adventures of Lolo is in here. One of the Adventures of Lolo games. My brother has the second one, I believe. But yeah, that Volume 24. We're gonna jump around a bit, so now we're gonna jump to Volume 39 from 1992. The cover of Mario Paint. Let's see. This is a good one. There's a Contra game in here. Contra Force. A walkthrough for it. There's a Legend of Zelda comic. Actually, this was in several issues, like this comic. So, they actually turned it into a graphic novel, which I found at the mall a while ago. It's pretty cool. Kirby's Dream Land. This is where Kirby started. This was back when Kirby was white. Probably why they gave him that color in Smash Brothers. But it was because of Game Boy was always like black and white. So that's why Kirby was originally white on the cover and white in the game. Until they later decided to color him and stuff. Do you remember this? Summer CES? It sounds familiar. I guess it's kind of like E3, and it's all these different games are coming out for the NES and Super Nintendo, and a lot of the names are highlighted in red, the names of the companies and stuff, so it's kind of sad that some of them are gone. I'll read through a few of them. Let's see, Capcom, yeah, they're out. They're struggling, I'll leave it at that. Acclaim, gone. Konami's pretty much dead. Sunsoft, I'm not so sure. Interplay, I'm pretty sure they're gone. Data East, I think they're gone, but I could be wrong. Ocean, I'm pretty sure is. Virgin Games, I'm not sure. THQ, I know some of these, THQ is pretty much gone, but, well, they folded into another company. Some of these have done that. Folded into Mindscape, gone. Hudson Soft, gone. Square's obviously still around. Tradewest, I'm not too sure. Correct me if I'm wrong about any of these. Jaleco, I'm pretty sure is gone. Kemco, I'm not sure. Tecmo, excuse me. Electronic Arts, or EA. Obviously, they're still around dominating the market. JVC, I'm pretty sure is gone. Funny little Super Mario World comic in here. Ooh. Best Ninja Turtles game of all time, or at least I think so, is Turtles in Time for the Super Nintendo. I like the way they have this set up for the level walkthroughs. There you go. They use the poster, which unfortunately you have to get. So, Felix the Cat is the poster. If you want the poster, you're unfortunately going to have to lose the walkthrough of Turtles in Time. Not that you need it, really, but yeah, this is one of the downfalls of the poster sometimes. There's a nice little even though it's an old game, it's a nice walkthrough of Mario Paint and like some cool descriptions and stuff. Shows you a how to do the animation. It's like Link. Moving on. One of my favorite, probably my most favorite issue of all time, Volume 44, with the cover The Magical Quest by Mickey Mouse. Which there's a walkthrough of that. I still need to get that game for the Super Nintendo. Now, this game was kind of cool. I never heard of this, but it was kind of cool. It shows like, because it shows the Chinese zodiacs, and I always thought the show. If you remember Jackie Chan Adventures, there was these. They had talismans, which were represented by the 12 zodiacs. Long story short, each one has a different power. So it was when I first started learning about the Chinese zodiacs about 15 years ago. I always thought, like, it's like, oh, I was born this year, and then the talisman. It's like, oh, does that mean I have that power? For example, I was born the year of the rabbit, and in Jackie Chan Adventures, the rabbit's power is speed. So it's like, oh, cool, I got the power of speed. My brother was born the year of the rooster, so he would have levitation. My sister was born the year of the pig. She would have the power of like heat vision. But it's obviously not really, but it's kind of cool to think, imagination and stuff. There's a Sunsoft game, Firepower 2000. It's kind of like Blaster Master. Unfortunately, the physical copy is very expensive. There's a funny Mario and Wario comic in here. I remember that. This was after Super Mario Land 2. It's actually like Super Mario Land 2. A lot of the bosses are in it and stuff. This was really cool. Mega Man 3 for the Game Boy version of Mega Man 3. One of the things I loved about this issue was this right here, the robot contest, where it was a lot of people who sent in ideas for Mega Man bosses, and I always loved looking at my brother used to look at this issue all the time. This is, like I said, this is my favorite. I used to always ask him, like, can I read that issue again, the number 44? This is 4 pages of this, the Mario thing. Then there was a walkthrough of Mega Man 5 for the NES, which is one of my favorites. I always loved because it showed all the characters in it. I always thought that was really cool how it showed all the characters. That's just a few of them, but that was it for this one. This one also came with excuse me. It was like, because this is when Star Fox was on the horizon. It came with this little paper model cutout thing of an Arwing that you could make, but it was like. Unfortunately, if you want to get this issue with that in it, it's going to cost like another $30 or $40 or something like. So, that's up to you if you want it or not. Next is issue 46, which is, the cover is Tiny Toon Adventures, my favorite show of all time. It's a nice little introduction to the original Star Fox in here. Speaking of Star Fox, if you saw my World of Nintendo review video, if not, I'll put the link in the description. But it was funny. I had only 6 at the time, and it was from like the first two, series of 1-1 and 1-2. It was before the others, so I was like suggesting like, oh, who would be cool if they made like Star Fox figures? I'd love to see that. Well, they did. Here's Fox. It's nice, really good craftsmanship on him and everything. And it was funny, my brother had said something. He was like, he had a really good idea. He was like she said he's like, oh yeah, some Star Fox ones would be cool. If, especially if they did, like, vehicles and stuff, like an Arwing, kind of like Star Wars toys, you have, like, the Arwing and everything. Well, here's the thing. See, I thought they always come with a mystery object. I thought he'd come with, like, a blaster or something. Instead, he came with this. It's a little miniature Arwing, which is actually pretty cool. So I was like, I guess they're not going to do vehicles then. Maybe they will, I don't know, but yeah, he came with a little miniature Arwing. Which is kind of cool, because I always loved things like that, like Micro Machines and, Micro Machines, what was the other one? Mighty Max, things like that. There's that Wayne's World game for the NES. I think I played that as a kid. Walk through the Tiny Toon Adventures, Buster Bunny busts loose. There's actually some, artist mistakes in here. Like, you notice that Plucky has long sleeves, which he's really supposed to be wearing a tank top. Right here, Pab's eyes are closed, but her eyelids are pink, or partially closed. funny Nestor comic. I think there's a Star Fox comic. Yep, there it is. Star Fox comic. What else we got in here? It's a Simpsons game for the Game Boy. Oh, the Nestor Awards. Or, you can vote for the Nestor Awards, excuse me. There was those things where you look at the, it's funny when you look at the player polls or something where people post their high scores. It's kind of cool to look at that because you can actually see if you're, it's like, hey, cool, that kid's from the same state as me or something. Anyway, next up is Volume 56. You can't really see it on here because the covers, this was a special edition one. It's, as you can see, it's all silver. It was the introduction to Mega Man X. Which there's a walkthrough of that. I remember when this came out and like my brother like getting all excited and showing me the pictures and everything. He shows all the bosses and stuff, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's awesome!" They're like animals and animal robots, so to speak. Like this was an issue I had to have. It's a walkthrough of Flashback. That's a really good game. There's actually a new one on the Xbox Live as well. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters. That was a good game. You know, it's like a Ninja Turtles fighting game. It has Chrome Dome in it. And the Turtle Shredder. I always liked him, this shark guy. Armadon or something like that. Another funny Mario and Wario comic. There's a nice little index of Super Nintendo games in here. There was these things that you stare at them and then it's like, you look at them really close, then you cross your eyes. It's hard to explain. I remember you have to like cross your eyes or something and look at it a certain way and you see like a 3D image. There's also, I've heard there's a trick if you wear 3D glasses, you can see it. Some more. There's an introduction to Super Metroid when that was on the horizon. Walkthrough of Battletoads Double Dragon. Classic. Turtles game and a Batman game for the Game Boy. Walkthroughs of those. There was also a section in this that was about games in Japan, like Fire Emblem. This is before Fire Emblem was released in Japan, Earthbound, or Mother it was known as. It was before those games were released in Japan. Next up we get Volume 60. This is a really good issue. I sound like a broken record, probably. Yeah, it's got a nice little introduction to Super Metroid. That's when this was coming out. Both these issues are from 94. I got a lot of issues from 94. I feel like that was a good year for Nintendo Power, just because it was like, the Super Nintendo was my favorite game, my favorite system of all time, and this one was focused mainly on, 94 was focused mainly on the Super Nintendo. There was really no discussion of NES or N64, you know, the previous system or the next one. There's a walkthrough of Knights of the Round. That's a good game. Also, where's the other one? Oh, there's a Super Metroid comic in here. This is when Samus had pink hair. Some more Nestor Awards in here. Where is it? Pardon me. I think yeah, this is when Super Game Boy was on the horizon. You remember that? The heck is it? Sorry. Crap, I know it's in here. It's gonna take me a second to find it. Come on, where are you? The hell with it. There's a King of Dragons. It's another. That's a classic. It was an arcade game. It was on the Super Nintendo. It was in the arcade and it was ported to Super Nintendo. It was basically a beat 'em up. In the Dark Ages, you could be a dwarf, an elf, a warrior, or it's either a warrior or a fighter. I can remember a wizard and a cleric. And my brother used to rent it all the time. I love that game. Next we have Volume 64. This was another really good issue. I think my brother picked this one up recently. There's a lot of 2s in this. We have Mortal Kombat 2, which is out of the classics, like when they had digitized actors. That's my favorite one of all time. That's my favorite out of the ones with is the second one. I have a lot of reasons for that, but I'll save that for another video, another time to talk about that. Another 2, Super Bomberman 2. This was another one of my favorite issues from when I was a kid that I used to read all the time and borrow from my brother. Cold season. Sorry. But I love the illustration of like all the bomber characters in here. I always thought those were cool. And we got Pocky and Rocky 2. That's a classic. You know, I'd love to see that because the physical copies of these games are expensive. I'd love to see them on the Wii U Virtual Console. So far, they have a Game Boy Advance one. I'm not really familiar with, but I remember it was like an overhead shooter game where you play as Pocky, and then player 2 or computer plays as Rocky, which is a raccoon. And what was cool was the second one. There was several other characters, as you can kind of see them here. I'll kind of scroll it around. I remember that some of them I don't really remember. I remember the Scarecrow. I remember the Mole. The others I don't really remember too much. Sorry if I went too fast for you. Unfortunately, I lost half the walkthrough because I think it was the you can't really see it, but I have a Donkey Kong Country poster up there, so I was like, oh, I definitely gotta hang that up. I got posters from Nintendo Power all over the place. I need to reorganize them. Blackthorn. This was a really good game. It was a lot like Super Metroid it was on the Super Nintendo. What else we got here? Little peek at Donkey Kong Country when that was new. Days of Mana. That's a classic. A walkthrough of that. Well, a little bit of a walkthrough and description and stuff. I think there's something else in here, but I could be wrong. Nope, that's it. Next, it was funny, you know, coming next issue, I was like, oh, it looks like I gotta get to the next one. This is, Volume 65. With the cover of Illusion of Gaia, and it's kind of ripped. Super Punch-Out! There's a walkthrough of that. I remember my brother used to rent that. Some more Donkey Kong Country. Some more deep into Tales. Final Fantasy 3, which is actually 6. You know, that's a whole other story, but, you know, I'm sure a lot of you know that, but it's cool. It shows a lot of the characters in it from the so that was cool. It shows some cool illustrations of them, too. Maximum Carnage. I remember my brother used to rent that. That was, a pretty good game, surprisingly, for LJN. Super Power Rangers. I mean, Power Rangers for the Super Nintendo. Really good game. Beat 'em up. I did a Let's Play of that. I'll put the link in the description if you want to check it out. It's a Pac-Man game. Illusion of Gaia. My brother has that. It's like Legend of Zelda. I think that's about it. Oh, yeah. Mega Man 5 for the Game Boy. That was the one where they took all the bosses and named them after planets. That was really cool. Now we have... What the hell is it? Volume 77. This is Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. So there's a walkthrough of that. Mega Man 7 is in here, a walkthrough of that. For the Super Nintendo. Let's see, what else is in here? Some E3 stuff in here, I believe. Unless there's something... Oh, nope. Scratch that. That's another issue. Virtual Boy game. Yeah. And that's basically a ad for the Virtual Boy on the back. Yeah, is that what it does to you? Your vision? I mentioned this in one of my game pickups. Volume 98, which has Star Fox 64 on the cover. One of my favorite games of all time. There's a nice little introduction to that in here. Here's the one with the E3 in it. It has Banjo-Kazooie when that was new. Hexen for the N64. That was a really good game. It's a first-person shooter. It's a Blast Corps comic, if you remember that game. Oh, this one has some really good stuff in it. Sorry, I'm rambling on here, so one more. Volume 126. This is a cool one. If you're a Pokemon fan, this is the one you'd probably want to look into. It has the classic... it's got Jet Force Gemini. That's an excellent game. It's a nice little introduction to that. Whoops. Army Men Sarge's Heroes, another really good N64 game. Actually, I think it was on PlayStation 1 as well, but I'm pretty sure it was. forget. It's a funny little Pokemon comic in here from the show. The School of Hard Knocks. So it's like in a comic form. There's also a walkthrough. Where are you? Well, it's in there somewhere, but there's a walkthrough of Pokemon Yellow. So that's it. Sorry if you're if you're bored, but these are if you're into retro game collecting and you want to look into Nintendo Powers, these are some issues I'd recommend picking up. So thanks for watching, and rate, comment, and subscribe, and Merry Christmas, everybody.